Hi, John with eTrailer. Today we're taking a look at Curt's adjustable trailer hitch for trucks, RVs, and buses. Now what makes this hitch adjustable is you've got two brackets on either side, and the cross tube here can adjust for as small as 22 inches if you have a smaller rig, up to 66 inches wide. This is going to be cut to fit. So if we take a closer look at the hitch here, this is going to be a Class 3 hitch. That means that the receiver portion is 2 inches by 2 inches. This does have a reinforced collar on it. It is powder coated gloss black. As you can see, everything's exposed here, everything's adjustable, so if you have any type of frame underneath whatever vehicle that you're doing, even the end of your camper, if you wanted to add a bike rack or something, as long as you have a frame to bolt to, you can use this hitch. It has a plate style chain hanger here, which gives you plenty of room for standard S hooks, or for a little bit heavier duty, clevis style. As far as your pin and clip, these are not included, but you can get these available here at eTrailer. This is a 5/8 size pin and clip, and if you'd like a locking style, we also have those available here as well. Now, as far as capacities for this hitch, we're looking at a tongue weight rating of 500 pounds. Now, that's going to be the force pushing down on your hitch. Those are important numbers. If you're towing with it, that'll be the tongue weight of your trailer, or say like a cargo carrier and you want to load it up with camping gear and a generator. These are all things you got to keep in mind when you're loading down that cargo rack. So it's 500 pounds of tongue weight rating. As far as towing, if you're going to tow with this, it's 5,000 pounds. Now that's going to be the weight of your trailer and anything you put on it or in it. Now obviously it's going to depend on if you're putting this on an RV or a truck or the end of your camper. So just check with your manufacturer and make sure that you're going to stay within their recommended guidelines. Now, something to keep in mind, depending on what kind of vehicle that you're going to be putting this hitch on. Here at eTrailer, we do measurements to make sure if ball mounts are going to work for you, or if cargo racks or bike racks are going to work for you. So a good thing to do is take a tape measure, and we'll measure from the ground up to the top of the inside of the collar here on this camper, and that'll let you know once your hitch is installed. Say if you were going to tow with it, for instance, the ball mount that would come out, it would let you know if you needed to either have a ball mount with a rise or a drop to it. The other measurement we like to get is from the center of the pinhole here out to the edge of whatever it's going to be, the end of your camper. Say for instance, it's this thing right here, the end of the bumper here. So we'll measure from here out to here. Again, that number's important if you're looking for a bike rack. You need to know how long the shank is, so it's going to clear whatever is on the back of this. Or if you get fold-up accessories like bike racks that fold up or cargo racks, you need to know how far they're going to come out, and once they fold up, that they're not going to impact the back of your vehicle. Now, as far as installation of this adjustable hitch, obviously it's going to vary with your situation and whatever you're installing this on. Special tools needed, you do need a pretty big drill bit. This is a 13/16 inch drill bit. Otherwise, if you're proficient with welding, this could be welded on. If you're not at all, don't worry. This is a drill and bolt on kind of a hitch. If you want to see what it takes, and this was kind of a custom job that we did here. If you want to see how this hitch installs, stick around. We can show you how we installed it on this vehicle here. Now, to begin our installation, we're going to come to the back here, and before you can even put a trailer hitch on the frame like this, the exhaust had to be rerouted. It used to come to the end here and shoot across and out this side. Obviously, the trailer hitch, when it goes up, would have interfered with that. So before you even consider this, know that you're going to have to move your exhaust. If it's shooting out across the frame here, you'll have to get it rerouted just like they did here. Now, you can come underneath and we're going to show you that there's a few items that we need to contend with here, and it's the old bracketing for the exhaust. So this one is welded up, and we have one of these on either side. And then we have an old bracket back here. Now there is a hole in the frame here and here that we're going to utilize for our brackets here. Now this is, we'll come back over to this side. This is for this side here. Our hitch brackets are going to be mounted up right here. So I'm going to take an angle grinder. We're going to cut this off the frame. We're going to clean this up so that we can mount these to our chassis. Okay, so we ended up using a cutoff wheel and a grinder on both sides. This one was a little bit tougher. They had this welded up on 3 sides, which if you know anything about welding, it just makes things more fun. So the end result here, you don't want to cut, obviously too deep into the frame. You don't want to get the frame too hot, anything like that. So just clean it up. We're going to shoot this with some paint or primer, whatever you got, just so that this bare metal doesn't rust up on us once it dries. We're going to be mocking up the side brackets of this universal hitch. And in the end, we want it to look something like this with the hardware. This is going to be the smaller hardware. This is the 1/2-inch hardware. And I've got a pair of vice grips holding the other end right now. So I'm going to do one of these on camera so you can see what we did here. So we can come on over to the driver's side frame rail. Now when you got your brackets, this protrusion here is coming towards the inside of the frame. This slant in the back will go towards the front of the vehicle. So when we hold this up here, now we have a hole here that we're utilizing on our frame. It's already existing. If you don't have that, just go ahead and use a second set of vice grips to hold and clamp this up here. In any event, we're going to have our spacer block. And that's going to sit up on top of the frame here. You can drop your carriage bolt through. And then I've got my vice grips already set up. And we kind of want to watch this relief right here and keep this even all the way across. We'll just do it rough right now to hold that while we tighten up the nut on this. And this stuff can be finger tight right now. Okay, so we're set up like this. Now we can get our measurements. We measured from the outside to the outside on our brackets to find our center point because we needed the center point on the vehicle, and I had marked that off. This hitch, the cross tube that goes across, we're going to have to cut this before we put it up here because the exhaust would be in the way on it. So we found our center points and we left 2 inches on either side. We're going to cut the center tube and then put this up into place here, and we'll start drilling and mocking things up here in just a second. Now we've brought our cross tube outside here and we've marked it off. We have the center line on here and we have our flush marks here on either side, and you don't want to cut these flush. You want to be able to have some sort of adjustment once you hold it up on the vehicle. If you find out you're not perfectly center, you need to have room for adjustment left and right. So I left about 2 inches on either side. That should give us plenty of room just for some small adjustments once it's up there. As far as tools to cut this, if you do metal work, if you've got a metal cutting saw at home, that'd be probably the best. You can use a Sawzall. You can use a metal cutting bandsaw like we have here. Now once you've got your cross tube cut on either side like we did, I stuck it up here on the frame where we had our side brackets tacked up here. So that was the part where you just want to sit here and have everything centered. Just take your time doing this. Make sure your hitch is centered on your vehicle. That's what we did. You can adjust it left and right. Now by doing it this way, the brackets are going to be square with the cross tube. That cross tube is going to make everything square on the brackets. So basically what that means for us is we can now mark all of the holes, that we need to mark to drill into. So on the cross tube over here, we're going to make our mark with a paint pen. And also for the frame up here, remember the back one had an existing hole. This one up here did not. We're going to be drilling 9/16 up into the frame an 11/16 into the cross tube. Now on the cross tube, you're going to have to drill twice on each side. You have one on the front side, and on the back side, same deal. This cross tube gets bolted from the outside in on each side, both the passenger and the driver side. Also a good side note, while you have other stuff going on, take that paint that we used on the frame earlier and spray that where we cut this cross tube. That way it'll be dry by the time we need to reach in here when we're bolting that up. Test that and we're good. So we'll go ahead and do the spacer, carriage bolt, and the nut here. I'm choosing to do the frame ones first. We don't have a drill press here. If you have a drill press at home, you could slide this cross tube out and get a nice drill on this, but we don't, so I'm going to tighten up the frame here first, and I'm going to drill the cross tube on the vehicle here. Our next step here, I'm going to torque the frame bolts to the specs that are found in our installation manual. So we've got our side brackets bolted up, and I've got the big 11/16 inch drill bit. I'm going to start this first in here. And what that does is it gives us a center point. And so now we can get a smaller drill bit and drill through, and then we'll step this up until we get to the large size here. It's just easier on the drill bits, but there's a neat little trick that I learned not too long ago about centering up on a circle hole like this. We can test fit the bolt. So that's going to work for us. Only have to do that 3 more times. Now once you've got all 4 sides drilled, you can take the larger hardware, and this is grade 8 hardware, this bolt, this washer, and let's see, it's 15/16, or if you have metric, it's 24 millimeter, either one. So I kind of balance the nut on the wrench just like that. Put that into position. You can start the bolt. There we go. We started it, but don't leave that wrench in there because it'll end up locking in there and you'll have to loosen that up to get it back out. So you can use the open end. And we'll snug these up, and we're going to torque these to the specs found in our installation manual. Now, these locking flange nuts in there, you shouldn't have to stick your wrench in there to hold them once they bite into the metal. Just go ahead and repeat that at all 4 locations. That was a look at Curt's adjustable trailer hitch for trucks, RVs, and buses.